I come and I aloha you, it means I'm coming to you with an open heart. I come to you with respect, with love, and with compassion, that we all stand equal, together, on one ground, in this wonderful fight towards a brighter future. I want to share with you something that's important to me personally, and something that I know is important to all of you, as we look forward to seeing how we can build this bright future together. No one understands more how important peace is than those who've actually been there and experienced that high cost of war firsthand.
Thank you!
Thank you! We have some veterans here, I know, in the crowd. You understand because you've seen that high human cost of war that doesn't end when our troops come home. During my first deployment to Iraq, I served in a medical unit where every single day that high human cost stared me back in the face. It's something that sticks with me in my heart and that I continue to carry with me. Through my experiences, I have learned how important it is that we have a commander-in-chief who exercises good judgment.
Common sense!
Military mindset to know and understand what the consequences of a military action is, to analyze that action and know what the results of that will be before that action is taken. It is the lack of that military mindset that we have seen in our failed ventures in the Middle East, whether you're talking about in Iraq, in Libya, or now in Syria today. I'm endorsing Senator Bernie Sanders, supporting him and helping him in his efforts. Because he has that good judgment, he has that intelligence, he has that foresight. He will make those decisions about when and where American military power should be used, and just as importantly, when and where it should not be used. Now, in this war that's being waged today, yet another one of these interventionist regime change wars in Syria, his opponent in this primary has made it clear that she will continue that war. She has supported that war.
Say no, not boo!
Sanders has made it clear that he will no longer waste our precious resources and lives on these interventionist regime change. He will fight to protect the American people from those who threaten us, but he will focus those resources on investing in and rebuilding our nation right here at home. So that's the clear choice that's before us. Florida, you have already begun early voting. It ends on Saturday. You've got a big day coming up on March 15th. And every single one of us here has a responsibility, not only to exercise our own civic duty, but to go out and get others to do the same. Because there is so much at stake in this election. The choice before us is this. We can vote for Hillary Clinton and know through her positions and her record that we will get more of these interventionist regime change wars that have cost us so much. Or we can vote for and support Bernie Sanders and these candidates and invest here at home, because we cannot afford to do both. Now is the time. Now is the time that we stand together, that we make sure our voices are heard, as happened in Michigan. And stand with Bernie Sanders to be our next president, my choice as our next commander-in-chief. Please give Bernie Sanders a resounding
and let me thank Tulsi Gabbard. Not only, as you know, Tulsi is a great congresswoman from the state of Hawaii. She is a veteran and she is a champion in the fight to make sure we do not get involved in perpetual warfare in areas of uncertainty. This campaign is a different type of campaign. And the reason for that is we're doing something very radical. We are telling the American people the truth. And here is some truth. No president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can deal with the major crises facing our country alone. The only way we transform this country is when we do it together. When millions of Americans stand up, get involved in the political process, and demand a government which represents all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. This campaign is different because we listen to the people, not billionaire campaign contributors. And this is what we have heard from people in Florida and all over this country.
We love you, Bernie!
First, we have heard that people cannot make it on $8, $9, $10 an hour. Not at the Disney World, not in the Kansas.
The truth!
Billionaire corporations should not be paying working people starvation wages. People who work 40 hours a week in this country should not be sleeping out in their cars. And that is why, together, we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15. This campaign is listening to senior citizens. And what senior citizens are telling me is they cannot make it on $11,000 or $12,000 a year Social Security. And you know what? Nobody can make it on $11,000 or $12,000 a year Social Security. Now, my Republican colleagues, most of them, say we should cut Social Security. Well, the good news for them, not only are we not going to cut Social Security, we're going to raise Social Security. This campaign is listening to the veterans community. And what the veterans are saying is they want quality health care and they want their benefits in a timely manner, and that's what we're going to provide tonight. This campaign is listening to young people. And what young people are saying is, how does it happen that when we graduate college or graduate school, we are $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in debt? This country needs a well-educated workforce to compete in the global economy. We should not be punishing people who get an education. We should be rewarding them. Years ago, when we talked about public education, first grade through 12th grade was a great idea because a high school degree 50 years ago enabled you, in most cases, to go out and get a great job. The world has changed. The economy and the nature of the economy has changed. And that is why I believe that when we talk about public education today, we should be talking about making public colleges and universities tuition-free. And what we have also got to talk about is making sure that we lower student debt for millions of Americans.
You feeling the burn yet?
I have talked to people who are paying 50% of their limited income in student debt. I've talked to people who've been paying off that debt for decades. That is crazy. And what our legislation does, and what I will do as president, is give everyone in this country who has student debt the ability to refinance that debt at the lowest interest rate. Some people say, they say, oh, Bernie, you're a nice guy, and you want to make public colleges and universities tuition free, and you want to lower student debt. You know, you're like Santa Claus giving away things. How are you going to pay for that? And I will tell you how we're going to pay for it. What we are going to do is put a tax on Wall Street speculation. Now, all of you remember, people in Florida remember this very clearly, that Wall Street greed and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic decline since the 1930s. And after the crooks on Wall Street destroyed the economy, they went running to Congress and they said, bail us out.
Hillary!
Well, now I think it is time for Wall Street to help the middle class. Campaign is talking and listening to women. that they go to work in an office or for a company and they're making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. And the answer is old-fashioned sexism, which we I know that every man here today will stand with the women in the fight for women. And this campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the African American community. What they are saying is, how does it happen in the richest country in the history of the world that we have more people in jail than any other country? And brothers and sisters, this is a disgrace that together we are going to end. See our jails packed with young people, African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans. We are going to reform a very, very broken criminal justice. Now, I'm a former mayor, and I've worked with policemen throughout my career, and the vast majority of policemen and policewomen are hardworking, honest, and they're doing a very, very difficult job. But like any other public official, when a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We are going to demilitarize local police departments. Police departments are designed to serve the people, not look like oppressor forces. We are going to make police departments look like the diversity of the communities they serve. In my state, I know in Florida, that we have a very serious problem with drug addiction and alcohol abuse.
Yeah!
But what we also understand is that substance abuse is a health issue, not a criminal. Revolution in mental health treatment. When people need help, they should be able to get help when they need it. We have got to take a very hard look at the so-called war on drugs. Federal Controlled Substance Act, heroin is listed at the same level as marijuana. That's and I have introduced legislation to take marijuana out of the federal control. Now we can argue, people do, the scientists do, the pluses and minuses of marijuana, but everybody here knows marijuana is not heroin. And the racial aspect of that situation is that it turns out blacks and whites use marijuana at roughly the same levels, but blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested than whites. Our campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. listening to our brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico. And what our Latino brothers and sisters are telling us is they are tired of living in the shadows. They are tired of living in fear. They are working hard, often exploited. They want comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. And our brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico are tired of Wall Street vulture institutions charging their government outrageously high interest rates and forcing the government there to close down schools and health facilities. And we're going to tell the Wall Street vultures who own bonds in Puerto Rico, no, they are not going to destroy that beautiful island. This campaign is listening to a people who never get listened to, and that is our Native American brothers and sisters. Everybody knows how much we owe the Native American community. How much their culture and their way of life have given to all of us. And yet for hundreds of years, treaties have been broken, they have been lied to. Together, we are going to change that and treat Native Americans with the respect and dignity.
Treaty of AAA!
This campaign listens to scientists. And I am a member of the Environmental Committee of the United States Senate. And I have talked to scientists all over the world. And virtually unanimously, what scientists are telling us is climate change is real.
Thank you. It's March! It's 88 degrees!
Is caused by human activity. And sadly and tragically, climate change is already doing devastating harm in this country and around the world. And this is what the scientists tell us, is that if we do not get our act together in a very short period of time, the bad situation of today will only become worse in years to come. And in fact, by the end of this century, this planet could be 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it is today. And what that means, let's be clear about what that means.
Feel the burn!
What that means is more drought, more floods, and you're already seeing that in Miami Beach, more extreme weather disturbances, and you're seeing some of that here, more acidification and destruction of the oceans, more rising sea levels, more international conflict as people fight for limited natural resources. That is the future if we don't have the guts to stand up to the fossil fuel industry. To tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the planet we intend to leave to our children. And when we talk about water, and when we talk about our environment, we have got to put an end to fracking. Offshore drilling of oil. Look, this is Florida.
Yeah.
And I from Vermont. We don't get this in the middle of the winter. This state can be producing enormous amounts of energy from solar. If we are going to save this planet, and if we're going to work with other countries around the world, is to do everything we can to move to energy efficiency, to solar, to wind, to geothermal, to sustainable energy. Now people say, how are you going to pay for these things? Well, I will tell you how we're going to pay for these things. In the last 30 years, media doesn't talk about it a whole lot, but in the last 30 years, there has been a massive transfer of wealth from the middle class to the top 0.1%. Middle class has shrunk. The percentage of wealth owned by the top 0.1% has doubled. What this campaign is about is telling the billionaire class that they no longer will be able to get it all. That this country belongs to all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. What this campaign is about is understanding that today we have a corrupt campaign finance system. And I'm an old-fashioned guy. Democracy to me is one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. One of the differences between Secretary Clinton and myself is I do not have a super PAC. I do not have a Secretary Clinton has raised $15 million from Wall Street, millions from the drug companies, millions from the fossil fuel industry. We have, on the other hand, raised money through 5 million individual campaigns. You know what our average contribution is? $27. We are not indebted to Wall Street, the drug companies, or the oil companies, or the coal companies. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. We are going to overturn this disastrous Citizens United. This campaign is about thinking big, not small. It is about understanding that if we have the courage to stand together and not allow the Trumps of the world to divide us up, nothing that we cannot accomplish. What demagoguery is always about, and what it's about today, and what it's always been about, is scapegoating minorities. So we stand here today rejecting the Trumps of the world who want us to hate Mexicans, to hate Muslims. We are going to stand together. and take on the big brother interest. What this campaign is about is exposing Republican family values. When they talk about family values, I want everybody here to know exactly what they are talking about. What they are saying is no woman here today or in Florida or in the United States should have the right to control her own body. What they are saying is that our gay brothers and sisters should not have the right to be married. When I talk about family values, what I talk about is ending the international embarrassment of the United States being the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. It is wrong. It is horrific that today a woman in Florida or a woman in Vermont is giving birth to a beautiful baby, and yet in a week or 2 weeks, she's going to have to separate herself from that baby and go back to work because she needs the income to take care of her family. Together, we're going to join the rest of the industrialized world, guaranteed 3 months paid family. Change, as all of you know who have studied history, change never takes place from the top on down. It's never some president or some important guy signing something. Change always takes place from the bottom on up. When workers 100, 150 years ago were being treated like animals, working 7 days a week with no rights, brave workers came together and said, we will have dignity and respect. We're going to form a union. We're going to engage in collective bargaining, and they struggled. Some of them went to jail, some of them were beaten, some of them were killed, fighting for workers' rights. That's how change takes place. Change takes place when over the last several hundred years, African Americans and their white allies said, in America, we are not going to tolerate racism, bigotry, and discrimination. And some of those fighters were beaten and jailed and lynched, but they continue the fight to make sure that America fulfills its promise of justice for all people. 100 years ago, from an historical perspective, not a very long period of time, 100 years ago, women in America did not have the right to vote. They could not get the education they wanted, the jobs they wanted. But women rose up, and with their male allies, they said, women in America will not be second-class citizens. And they struggled, and they went on hunger strikes, and some of them died in order to make sure that women in America were treated with the dignity and respect that all of our people deserve. If we were here, just here, 10 years ago, a very short time ago from an historical perspective, and somebody stood up and said, I think that in the year 2015, gay marriage will be made legal in all 50 states, the person next to him would have said, "What are you smoking?" Which raises a whole other issue. But because of the willingness of the gay community to stand up against incredible hatred and opposition, and the willingness of many straight people to stand with them, we have achieved huge change. What is my point? My point is that change never comes easily. It only comes when people begin to see that the status quo is no longer acceptable. I want you to take a look at where we are as a nation today. Today in this country, as I mentioned, we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, but nobody knows that because almost all of the new wealth and income is going to the top 1%. That's the status quo. The status quo is that in America today, we got folks in Florida and in Vermont, they're working not one job, but two jobs, maybe three jobs. Dad's working, mom's working, the kids are working, and yet 58% of all new income is going to the top 1%. That is the status quo. Status quo today is that 29 million Americans have no health insurance. Many of you are underinsured with large deductibles and large co-payments. That's the status quo. The status quo is that in this great country, embarrassingly, we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. That's the status quo. Status quo is more people in jail than any other country on earth. That's the status quo is I was in Flint, Michigan last week talking to people whose kids are being poisoned by a collapsing water system which has lead. Status quo is that in Vermont and all over this country, our roads and bridges and water systems and wastewater plants and our rail system falling apart. That's the status quo. Status quo is that the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. That is the status quo that we are looking at today. And I say that status quo is not acceptable. And that we have got to change it. And let me also tell you about the status quo, which is that the people who own this country do not want you to vote. They do not want you to participate in the political process.
But we will.
But here is the only antidote to what these guys are doing. They want a world in which corporate America, Wall Street, and large campaign donors can do exactly what they want because they have bought the United States Congress and bought the White House. Do you think any of these billionaires are staying up nights worrying that people here are working for $9 an hour? They could care less. Do you think they care that elderly people are struggling at $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security? They could care less. The only way we make change, and as I said a moment ago, that's the only way change has ever taken place, is when people stand up, fight back, and demand a government that represents all of us. the status quo is we have one of the lowest voter turnouts, one of the lowest voter turnout rates of any country on earth. I think together it's time we change that, creating the highest voter turnout. Not only are we going to overturn the Citizens United, we are going to stand up to those cowardly Republican governors who are trying to suppress the vote. The cowardly Republican governors are afraid of a free and fair election. If the only way they can win is by making it impossible for people to vote, those cowards should leave politics and get another job. Our view, my view, is if you're 18 years of age in this country and a citizen, you have the right to vote. End of discussion. Now, I have been attacked and criticized for a whole lot of things, and one of the areas that I'm criticized is that, well, Bernie is a nice guy, but he cannot win a general election. Can't defeat. Well, let me just tell you something. Virtually every poll that has come out in the last month has us running way, way ahead of Donald Trump. Almost all of those polls have us doing a lot better against Trump than Secretary Clinton. It's not just polls. More importantly, the American people are not going to elect a president who insults Mexicans, a president who insults Muslims, president who insults women? No! President who insults veterans? No! A president who insults the African American community? No! I want all of you to remember that Donald Trump was one of the leaders of the so-called birther movement, a movement that tried to delegitimize the presidency of Barack Obama for one reason. You know, I always find it interesting. President Obama's father was born in Kenya. My father was born in Poland. I'm the son of an immigrant. And somehow, Trump and others always worried about President Obama's birth certificate. Nobody asked me about my birth certificate. Maybe it has something to do with the color of my skin versus Obama's skin. The American people are going to defeat Donald Trump. We're going to support Barack Obama. The American people are going to defeat Donald Trump because they know that community supporting each other will trump selfishness. They know that coming together, bringing our people together, trumps dividing us up. The American people, most importantly, understand that every major religion on earth, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, understands that love trumps hatred. Coming Tuesday, you have a very important primary here in Florida. Now, about a week ago, we were 20 or 30 points behind in Michigan. And what all of the pundits said and what all of the media said, Bernie Sanders and the political revolution can't win in Michigan. Guess what? We won. In Michigan because there was a record-breaking turnout of people who stood up and said, this government belongs to all of us, not the few. Now here in Florida, next Tuesday, I believe that if there is a large voter turnout, if you come out and your friends and family and neighbors come out, we are going to win. To make certain that Florida becomes a leader in the fight for the political revolution. Please vote. Thank you all.